All right, let's talk a little New York politics here, and we start where else, where Albany and corruption go hand in hand. That was for you, Richard Brodsky, wherever you are. The Assembly last week, they passed a campaign finance reform bill similar to the one that's used in New York City. Essentially, what it does, sets low limits for candidates to the state Senate and Assembly to qualify for campaign cash. The hope is that with the public money easier to get, candidates won't have to bend, break, or destroy rules to raise as much money that they can for themselves. The bill faces not only opposition, but probably defeat when it gets to the state Senate. Andrew, any hope this one gets through?
I mean, there's always hope. You
wouldn't bet your money on it.
I'm hoping the Mets will make the playoffs this year, but I wouldn't bank on it or spend any money betting on it. And the other thing is, I'm not sure if this necessarily solves the problem. I mean, the New York City campaign finance laws, and O'Brien, you might be able to speak to this as well as anybody, but there have been people who have been getting around those rules for years also, and they've had to constantly be tweaked. I think Larry Seabrook might be one of the cases in point. So, I mean, even if it does get passed, I'm not necessarily sure it does what everybody hopes it might do.
Okay, at the end, who is going to own with whatever? Somebody's going to clean this thing up. They got to, okay? Is it going to be the U.S. attorney that he's the guy in the white knight? Can the governor do something? Does the legislature try and save itself here?
There's already a system in place, and no system is perfect. And I have worked on campaigns before, and I've called the Board of Elections.
Could be the biggest understatement of the world here. No system's perfect.
No, but what I'm saying is there is no enforcement of the current rules. Reporters every now and then put out stories about how many campaign committees haven't filed in how many years. How many quarters, how many whatever. I mean, Espada, that was one of the problems he had, if I'm not mistaken, repeatedly not filing.
One of them.
But I mean, that was what woke people up on it.
Right.
And then people went in there, and reporters break this story. And with fewer reporters around, there's less of that.
So you're going to lay out more money for better enforcement?
Well, no, so enforcement of Board of Elections.
That costs money.
But that is a better way to go than campaign finance. JACO has been doing nothing. Dominic?
You know what, Richard? I wanted to go back to the U.S. Attorney for 1 second. The U.S. Attorney in question, Loretta Lynch, an African-American woman, she started out of Brooklyn. She's starting to remind me of the next Rudy Giuliani when he was a U.S. Attorney.
Don't forget about pre-Barra.
Yeah, but right now Loretta Lynch is the one running lead on this investigation. And the question is, what does she want politically in terms of what's her next job? She's definitely something.
These are guys line up for AG if Schneider goes anyway. I want to get to our next one here because I don't know, you're going to like this one. The Post here has gotten into the debate over whether Sandy, no vote and controversial Texas Senator Ted Cruz ought to be the featured speaker at the state Republican Party fundraiser later on this month. The Post, writing about Cruz's vote, what they and other Republicans objected to is writing a blank check for legislation filled with pork. Now, first of all, that's BS, all right? We all know it's BS. At the end of the day, there was a second pared-down, bare version. Peter King was the loudest voice of all of them, a Long Island Republican, who says they shouldn't show their faces. Any Republican voted against the fund.
And Richard, if you look at the clip on that, I don't know if you guys are playing that tonight or not.
We don't have time. You're lucky.
No. Look at the date on that. That was the day before Ted Cruz was even sworn into the U.S. Senate. That was on January 2nd.
But then he got into the Senate, and then he voted no on Sandy on a bill that the two Republican sponsors said was stripped of its pork.
But let's back.
So which Republican is lying?
I've known Ted Cruz since 2004.
I'm sorry.
No, and I met him when he was raising money for Bush back in 2004, and I met him, dealt with him quite a number of times over those years before he ran for the Senate. What he's doing right now, what Peter King's talking about, is the men and women that voted against New York shouldn't come to New York to take money out of it. Ted Cruz raised $300,000 in New York running for the U.S. Senate.
Time out.
Ted Cruz,
New Yorkers waited, and you know this, 100 days to get this thing passed.
I'm saying
it was obscene. While people are underwater, this guy is saying no. And you got Peter King, who's going to speak a whole lot better than me for Republicans' conscience, who says they shouldn't be able to set foot in here.
And I would have liked them to vote for it, too. I'm not questioning that. But the New York Post today also said that he was representing the taxpayers because of the pork that was in there when they first said no about it.
Even though, again, the sponsors of the bill that passed said they took the pork out.
But why is Ted Cruz coming to New York?
To raise money for the party.
To the party, not himself. So let him come to New York.
The Republican Party in New York, have they lost their mind?
No, not over this. They've lost their mind over many things over the years and decades.
Do you think this guy should be your keynote guy?
On this point, this one specific point, Ted Cruz is coming to New York to raise money for the
So
party.
now every Republican candidate in the state of New York gets to benefit from the support that comes from a guy who voted against San Diego.
We got to agree to disagree. I can't believe, like, you think I'm crazy defending the IRS here, and I'm not. But anyway, you defended Ted Cruz. You're
Well,
nuts.
no,
All right,
but-
Dominic, Christine Quinn. All right, I got to admit, you were right. I said, come on. She does seem to be losing her mojo. She's lost endorsements here recently. The polls, we don't really know where they're at, but almost everybody believes she's going to be going down here. We've had our friend Mr. Levinson and other groups running ads already against her. It seems to be a concerted effort to go after the city council speaker. It seems, and you're closer to this than me, what is behind this? It seems like there's been resentment building up over the years that we're finally hearing now.
I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what it is. There are a few things that voters can wrap their hands around and fully get. Here's one that Christine Quinn can't get away from. Oh, you're the Democrat that made it possible for the billionaire mayor to have a third term. The Democrats are going to tar her with the term limits vote. She was never the candidate that she was cracked up to be. Let's face it.
But it seems there's more than that to it. Apparently, I mean, it's a tough job running the city council.
But the same thing happened with Alan Hevesy before he was in trouble. The media told us that Mr. Hevesy was the Democratic nominee. He was on his way to becoming the next mayor of New York. He finished fourth. I believe fourth.
What about Speaker Gifford?
In that primary.
Speaker Gifford really worked out well too as a speaker.
Yeah,
Well, her polls were, she was up by 20 points here before Wiener got in. Not that he's winning it, but
you know that TV commercial, How You Like Me Now?
Yeah.
That's what Bill Thompson can say. He's a moderate and a quiet guy, but for right now, Thompson can say, how you like me now.
But any front runner is always going to get attacked by other people, whether it's
when
outside
Thompson
groups
gets
or
it,
not.
this race is going to be over.
But also right now, don't forget,
and
over the
D'Amato,
weekend,
this is the one I'm trying to figure out. Key Republicans, even Rudy said that if Loder wasn't in the race, he would support Thompson. Al D'Amato's raising major money for Bill Thompson. Go figure that one out.
I can't.
I just want to hear Dom say the media again.
The media.
Double air quotes.
Media.
All right, let me take a quick break here. When we come back, no more air quotes. And we will bring you the White House, where the president, we talked about cops and stop and frisk before. Well, we're going to be going to the presidency, honor the top cops in our nation. Unbelievable bravery. And one of those cops focused right here from our region, cop from New York. Stay with us. Be right back.